What if someone could literally turn down the sun's brightness? Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into the reality and, well, the heavy implications of global geoengineering. Specifically, this climate intervention called Stratospheric Aerosol Injection, or SAI.
Right, and a prime example here is SCoPEx.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Harvard research project backed by Bill Gates, and they've looked into sending aircraft like 20 kilometers up into the stratosphere to spray millions of tiny reflective particles, mostly sulfur dioxide. It's basically trying to put a giant chemical pair of sunglasses on the Earth, to bounce sunlight back into space.
Which sounds totally like sci-fi, but what's fascinating here is that we actually have a massive natural test case for this. I mean, think back to 1991 when Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines.
Oh, right, the volcano.
Yeah, it shot 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide straight into the sky. And the crazy thing is, the cooling mechanism actually worked. By reflecting that solar radiation, global temperatures dropped by half a degree Celsius within 18 months.
Wow, half a degree just from one eruption.
Exactly, but there's a huge catch. It also threw global weather patterns into complete chaos and caused unexpected crop failures.
Okay, so wait. If the Earth naturally proved this cooling effect works, why the massive backlash? Because if you remember, there was enough protest from scientists and indigenous Sami groups to completely shut down a SCoPEx balloon test in Sweden back in 2021.
Yeah, they shut it down before it even really got off the ground.
Right. So are people just instinctively afraid of geoengineering, or is there a fundamental flaw in the actual physics of it?
Well, it really comes down to the physics of how those particles behave. When you spray sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, it reacts with water vapor to form sulfuric acid droplets. And the problem is, those droplets don't just form an even, predictable shield.
They don't just spread out equally.
No, they alter the temperature gradients in the atmosphere. So when you artificially change where the air is warm and cold, you shift the major wind currents. The peer-reviewed climate models show this artificial cooling could drastically shift the jet stream.
Which means moving the rain.
Right, exactly. It would physically pull vital monsoon rains away from South Asia and sub-Saharan Africa.
Man, so we're looking at a scenario where deploying this tech might cool down wealthy nations, but physically shift the rain away from developing nations, potentially causing massive famines. That is a heavy, heavy dilemma.
It's a massive ethical dilemma. You're fixing one problem by creating a potentially worse one for someone else.
But what really gets me is the physical trap of it all. This concept of termination shock. It's like stretching a rubber band to its absolute breaking point.
Right, because stratospheric aerosol injection doesn't actually remove any carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Yeah, the CO2 is still there, continuously thickening the greenhouse gas layer. It's like putting a heavy lid on a boiling pot. The heat from that trapped CO2 is still building up underneath the aerosol shield.
Just masking the warming, it's not stopping it.
Exactly. So if humanity ever has to stop spraying those particles, say because of a war or an economic collapse, you take that lid off. And all that suppressed thermal energy cooks the planet simultaneously. Temperatures wouldn't just creep up, they would skyrocket within a single decade.
Yeah, once we start wearing these chemical sunglasses, we're basically locked in forever.
Locked in completely.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that lack of an off switch brings us to a terrifying geopolitical reality. I mean, nobody is actually in charge of the thermostat here.
Wait, there are no rules for this?
There is currently zero international law preventing unilateral deployment. A single wealthy nation, or even a well-funded rogue state, could legally decide to alter the entire globe's weather.
That's where this moves from an environmental debate to a massive security issue.
Oh, absolutely. Some researchers are even warning about solar geoengineering as a weapon.
Because if one country can shift the jet stream, they can secretly steal rain from rival nations. They could weaponize the weather under the guise of trying to cool the planet.
All right, we'd essentially be replacing the original problem of burning fossil fuels with a totally unregulated global experiment.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? The source material makes it pretty clear that while the catastrophic reality of climate change is undeniable, treating the symptom with SAI might just be replacing humanity's original arrogance with a new, unregulated arrogance.
Yeah, and this raises an important question. I mean, the sky belongs to every living thing on Earth, yet these decisions are happening in private boardrooms and academic bubbles.
It leaves you with a lot to chew on. Just think about your own city or region. If a geopolitical adversary did decide to deploy this invisible technology tomorrow, how would you or your local government ever prove that a sudden, devastating drought was a deliberate attack and not just the natural progression of climate change?